Taylor Jacobs, who's the Associate AD for NIL and Strategic Initiatives. Thank you for the time. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
It's our pleasure. You and I have been able to do a lot of different media over the years. Remember, like when NIL went live 4 years ago, Pixley and I like swindled you onto our podcast. We were like the only people doing NIL podcasts 4 years ago.
Oh, I remember. I remember the swindling.
Well, you have been someone, though, that has seen like everything from dawn of this era to every change. So it makes you a very fascinating person to talk to. First of all, Associate AD for NIL and Strategic Initiatives. There's no way it fits on your business card. What does that mean?
It means, Taylor, figure out how to manage the chaos is what that means. That's a fancy way to say strategic initiatives. No, I think when we first were establishing what this department would look like and how NIL would operate within the already existing collegiate athletic space, there was a lot of change. It was moving really fast. And at the time, the current leadership that was there, we didn't want to just like silo it to NIL because we knew that it was going to be so evolving, and there was a revenue component and a fundraising component and all of these different things that we were trying to implement, the education for the athletes. And so really I was challenged in the very beginning to start thinking strategically about how we would advance in this space. And that has just evolved into so much. Now we have all these different revenue goals, and how are we tying NIL into things that we otherwise never would have thought of? How are we working with partners more strategically, which is truthfully how NILSU Max was born, right? Sure. How can we bring Playfly and our corporate partners more into the fold? So that was really what I was tasked with in the beginning. As you mentioned, it's evolved a ton. Now we have revenue sharing, which is our institutional NIL component. So there's just a lot of moving parts, and that's really how the unit was born, I guess.
Do you think that from the average fan who sits in section 223 right over there, or the fan that sits in section 615 over there, or the corporate partner who spends a lot of dollars to be a corporate partner of LSU, do you think how much confusion do you think still exists between the difference in NIL and revenue share?
Oh my goodness. I'm sure there's a ton of confusion still around it. I know daily I get, y'all are revenue sharing now, so NIL went away. And I'm like, no.
Have you looked at my business card?
Actually, arguably it might be even more important now.
Really?
I think, absolutely.
Okay.
I think, and we can talk about that, but, this new generation of athlete, I was a student athlete way back in the day. We won't date me on air, but this new generation of athlete, the NIL component of the student athlete experience is one of the main talking points now in the recruiting process, whether it's myself, whether it's the coaches, and not just, what are you going to pay me when I come here, but holistically, how are you going to support me in this space, which is what NILSU does. That's our education, our branding, our resources, teaching them about content and social media and how to capitalize on their NIL. But then now with revenue sharing, there's that new added layer of, okay, what do you establish my worth as, and what are you as the institution going to pay me if you are going to pay me? Because again, not every athlete is getting revenue share. And then on top of that, how are you additionally helping me in the third party NIL space? Because obviously the monetary value is important, but so is the brand building component for those athletes who are looking to build their brand to go pro. They want to establish partnerships now that they can then carry on into their professional career. Like, it's a whole process and relational building thing. You would be surprised at the conversations that we've had with agents and moms and dads of, we want this revenue sharing and we're thankful for this, but how are you going to introduce us to all these other third parties as well? It is a big networking component.
Yeah, I was just about to ask how often do you have conversations with agents now?
That's all I do now.
Yeah.
It is actually, it's majority of the day now.
Is it a good, I'm sorry to interrupt, but maybe weave this in, is it a good thing that the players have representation?
When it's the right representation, I do stand true. I do engage with a lot of agents, but honestly, I would say 97% of them, I don't mind. I mean, you have your typical, they're going to make me work for it, and they're going to make me work for my answer for sure. But at the end of the day, we have a great relationship, and I know, I can call this individual and we're going to be on the same page and we're going to be able to get to the same conclusion and we'll be fine. We have our few one-offs where it's like, okay, I really cannot stand dealing with you, or you have no business being an agent. And I highly would encourage our athlete to consider maybe their representation. But it actually, I think I'm so used to it now that it doesn't bother me.
Taylor Jacobs is with Associate AD for NIL and Strategic Initiatives. So you said that you would argue that maybe NIL now is more important since revenue share. Why?
Well, with revenue sharing, we have a cap. So we had $20.5 million. That is how, with the House settlement, that is where the max that institutions could spend in the revenue sharing spend. And at LSU, for example, we have 17 sports. So how are you distributing that revenue share? What is that looking like?
Yeah.
Making sure that you're providing opportunity for all of our coaches to feel successful and competitive in the recruiting space, but for all of our athletes to have the opportunity that they feel they need as well. So there's a lot of strategy behind that as well as to who's getting what, who really is more marketable in the third-party space, and how are we leaning into that? We know we have a lot of corporate partnerships who want to work with specific athletes, so how can we really help build that third-party portfolio as opposed to leaning in too heavy into the revenue share? What does that look like? So again, having those third-party opportunities available now, it helps with that puzzle, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It's one of the things I often think about, like, how do you are there student athletes where, like, realize $20.5 million, especially when football is the monster that it is here, that ain't gonna go far. So you have to be able to supplement all of these programs. How much of those conversations are you involved in, like the distribution of that 20.5 to make the NIL piece maybe supplement?
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
So we do have an internal group here in athletics. That's like our working group, if you will, for how this new collegiate model works. So I'm involved in that. We meet, I think, every other week now, almost weekly, especially at the beginning, where it's an ever ongoing conversation, because you got to think, at the beginning of all of this, no school had the perfect plan or puzzle for how it was going to work best, right? And what one school might value as being the most important, another school might feel differently about. And so then your programs are being supported at different levels.
Yeah.
And so trying to figure that component out too has been really hard. We don't have this public record of who's spending what and what's where and what is this program getting and what is this program getting. So navigating these first, I would say, 3 years, 2 to 3 years, I think we're going to learn a lot in how it's distributed, how other programs are using it, where are we going to, see the best return on the investment, which I hate to say it like that, but I mean, truthfully, that's what it is. Like, when you look at athletics, Kelly Zinn used to talk about this a ton, but it's a business model, and figuring out where that investment best plays out, that's part of it now. So again, I'm really thankful with the third-party component and the businesses that'll be here tonight with NILSU Max and everything that we've been doing with NILSU. We have embraced the third-party NIL thing since day one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm actually having a little bit of like nostalgia being up here, because it was February of 2022 we held the first Go Time event. That was the first like call to action of businesses saying, hey, y'all, like, we need you to get involved in this space. And they did that. They responded. We have an incredible brand at LSU. We have incredible athletes here. We've seen active third-party deals successfully executed. We have athletes on national commercials. You're seeing them all over the place in true NIL deals. And we've really leaned into that. So now we're just going to continue to lean into that, even harder, and continue to implement that at a top level.
Do people stop you in the grocery store and be like, aren't you the one from the Money Game?
Yeah, every now and then. It's funny, I think someone stopped me one time and told me I was the one single-handedly ruining college athletics, and I was like, that's what they said, and I was like, wait, what? And he was like, aren't you the one from that Money Game show? And I was like, oh, okay. I mean,
yeah,
if that's how you feel, like,
yeah.
Respect, I get it. It's a different age. Listen, I say it all the time. I was an athlete. I did not get compensated. I couldn't even have cream cheese for my bagels when I was an athlete. So we've come a long way, but yes, it is quite the story.
to reiterate for those who might be interested in coming tonight, business owners, entrepreneurs, local, regional, national. This isn't an open to the public night, but it's if you're a business owner and you want to attend to learn more about NIL through LSU, it's a great opportunity to do it here tonight.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be fun. I think Mary Claire, who was on earlier,
right,
she now runs NILSU Max, and she came to me a couple days ago and said, we're going to do an open Q&A. And I was like, whoa, bold move. Okay, here we go. But like I said, February of 22, I think I put my phone number on the screen, and I gave my cell phone number out to Baton Rouge. So it's like this event is historically one where we get a little wild. And
did people take advantage of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I think it was the next day after that, I came back to work and I had like over 100 emails in my inbox of like, okay, I'm ready to get involved. Okay, I'm ready to do a deal. And that was really when NILSU got rolling.
Yeah, it's a fascinating time as everyone continues to learn throughout this evolution. Taylor Jacobs, Associate AD for NIL and Strategic Initiatives. Got it all. There it is. We appreciate the time. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. It's After Further Review. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.